What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Hollywood Racks SR1. It's going to be a spare tire mounted bike rack. It's going to be great for your Jeeps. You can see we have it on the spare tire right here because sometimes, you know, the hitch really limits you because it's further underneath the Jeep, so then you'd have to get an extender to even get a bike rack around that tire, which this is just the easier route to go. You can just throw this up on the tire. Spare tire's there anyway. It attaches very easily. You don't have to have any tools to do it either. Just sits up on the tire. Now you can tighten it down with a ratchet to make sure it's nice and tight, but you don't really have to do that the first time you're getting to size it up. Otherwise, it's got the arms that extend out here, and it's going to hold the bikes by the frame. So that's another thing to think about, is what kind of bikes you're going to throw on there. You probably don't want to throw on any carbon fiber bikes because that could damage or scratch that frame. We got an aluminum road bike, and then we have a mountain bike here. Also, another thing to think about with those mountain bikes, we've seen some pictures of our neighbors using it and the bike's uneven, and that's fine if that's how you want to carry your bike, but we recommend using a bike adapter bar. You can see here where this holds on to the handlebars and the seat post, and it's nice and even. Both bikes are level, they're not over like this or out of the way. Now, I've talked about how it holds the bikes, but let's just go into what actually holds the bike. I'll remove this strap. This red strap's included to help keep the bikes from swaying back and forth. If you can look over here, they do kind of make contact right there, so there is going to be a little bit of contact when you're driving on the road. We pulled this nice and tight to try and get that out of there, but that's just that's how it's going to be, so just keep an eye out for that. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this strap, because without it, you can see it moves a whole lot more, so it does definitely help out. We ran it through the frames, and on the rack itself, it's attached there already when you unbox it, so that's nice. Now here's the straps, just rubber straps that go over. You can pull them as tight as you need to, so you could go right here. That holds it pretty good, but if you want to try and chance it and get to that last one, you could. That'd be super tight. Very easy to use, very easy to attach or remove. You can even replace these. They have replacement straps you can look out for, so if you lose one or something gets damaged, they are replaceable, easy to take off and put back on. So you would just remove this, both of those, and that's what holds it up in the arms. With it removed, you can see how the cradles look. They got a little bit of rubberized in there, so that's going to protect your frame when you set in there. Like I said, that's an aluminum road bike, so we're not worried as much about the frame getting damaged easily, but there is still some protection on there to help it out, so it's not just resting on metal. If your bikes are making contact and you just need a little bit more room, these cradles do slide back and forth. So you can just kind of rotate it, and it slowly moves forward or backwards just to get a little bit more space in between those bikes. The cradles can also handle 35 pounds per bike, so keep that in mind with what kind of bikes you want to carry. Now, with the cradle spaced out a little bit more, I showed you how to move it. It took out that contact right there, so you can see with that strap holding the center, I'm moving it like this, and it's not making contact anymore. I'll shake the bike rack and show you. That's probably about as much as it's going to move when you're going on the road, and you see they're not making contact at all. Now let's get some measurements really quick. So we're going to do a measurement from the post here on our rack to the end of the arms, because every tire will be a little bit different, so we can't measure from the tire. So we'll just go from the back end of that bar to the front here. It looks like it's about 13.5 inches. So it's going to add a little bit to the back of your tire. That's not a whole lot. If I set the tape measure down, you can actually take that out by pushing up on this bolt here underneath the arm. It's got a spring on it. I'll rotate the arms to the outside. Push up, rotate out, and it stays right there. And now it's only going to stick out about 3 inches. So that's quite a bit less if you're worried about that extra clearance. Let's look at how it sits on the spare tire. So we have this brace that goes all the way around and connects to the front of the rack here. It comes pre-assembled, so that's pretty cool. We had to back these bolts out to slide it over the spare tire. Now this has an adjustment of, at the very least, it'll be 7 3/4, so that's about here to here. And then at the maximum, it'll be 13.5 inches, so it'd be a little bit more than where we have it at now. We have it out, spread out pretty good. So you loosen this with the ratchet to expand this out, to set it over the tire, make sure it goes back and behind, not just sitting on the top lip. So we have ours back there, and it's actually in between the tire and the light. It's not really touching the light. It didn't have any issues scratching on the way down, so there is just a little bit of space there, and it's not bothering it with the light installed. But it sits on there pretty nicely. I can shake pretty much the whole Jeep from here. so you know it's on there nice and tight, so you don't have to worry about, is it just resting on there like vibrating back and forth. It is pretty sturdy. You have the strap that goes all the way around the tire. You can see it's already looped on this side. We ran over here, ran through a buckle, so that helps pull up that tightness on the bottom, adding to the rack, keeping it sturdy. Now, there's another 2 straps here at the bottom. Those are on along the back side, so when you pull it tight here, it also helps push up and pull this rack down, so there's less movement here. Now, there is a little bit of bouncing, but they give you pads that go right here on the bottom that you can attach super easily, and that protects your tire from getting scuffed up or you damaging the inside of your wheel. You can see once it's taken off the spare tire, it doesn't take a whole lot of space. It folds up on itself pretty easily. And also you can throw this in the back of the Jeep and it's just not gonna take up a bunch of space like a full bike rack would, or a spare tire mounted one. It wouldn't stick out as much and be kind of annoying to have in the back. So now that we've gone over how it sits on the tire, let me show you how it installs on the tire. So first up, you're gonna unbox it. It's gonna be all like this, except for the straps. You'll have to add those. But we'll bring this out, the base. Let me get the straps out of the way there. All right, now we're gonna set it on our tire. Make sure you fold the base over, put it around the back side of the tire. You want it to go down like that. We need a little bit more space, it seems. So let me push back on this bolt, just like that. So this long strap's gonna need to run on the outside of the tire, all the way around. On the other side, this is where our buckle is waiting. So run it up, and then run it down through the front slot. That way we can just pull down on it, and it pulls it nice and tight. Now we're gonna go to these straps around the back side, because they're gonna come up to these buckles up front. You can do that for the other one too. Now with it set down and everything tightened up, you can go ahead and tie up the extra strap on each one of these just to make it look nice and neat. We have that all looking good. We can just open up these cradles and add our bikes. It really is that easy to get installed. It didn't take much time at all. The first time might be a little confusing with all the straps and where they go, but once you do it once, it's pretty easy. So something else I wanted to show you this rack can do is pretty nice is now our tire's in the middle on our Jeep here, but if you had a vehicle where it would be offset to the left or to the right, you can adjust that. So a neat thing about that is I already loosened this with tools, but I'm just gonna do this by hand. These bolts and washers come off. You can move the bar with the arms on there to whatever side you need it to be. So it's nice that you can customize it, especially since it works with RVs that have spare tires on the back too. So if that is offset, like it can be sometimes to avoid a ladder, you can move the arms to the side and keep them out of the way. Now, of course, you'd put the washer and the nut back on there, and you want to tighten those down. It's just a nice feature to have. Another feature that's customizable is if your spare tire is bigger than 12 inches, so this works up to 15 inches, and if it's more than 12, you'll have to remove this bolt here on the sides, and they give you the replacement ones. They're just a little bit longer. If you hold it up there, you can see you just get a little bit more space if that's what you need for your tire, and it also comes with an extra strap so it can fit around the outside as well. Overall, I was pretty impressed with the SR1 as far as hang style bike racks on a spare tire. You know, its adjustability makes it stand out against some other those types of racks. So like being able to move it over here if your tire's offset, or to the driver's side as well. That's a nice option to have. It being able to use on an RV is pretty cool too. Also a good option if you have a newer Jeep that has a backup camera. Kind of eliminates being able to use one of the spare tire mounted ones. Those are the ones that go into the spare tire, because that would eliminate your camera that's there, and you probably want to keep that where it is. So putting this on there is temporary as well. You don't have to permanently install anything. It comes off really easily and goes back on just as easy. So I think this is a good choice for you and your Jeep. Well, I think that does it. Thanks for hanging out and hope this helped.